Are we good to go, Joe? Okay, thank you very much. So what I'd like to do then is I've got quite a few photos here, and I'm going to rattle through them quite quickly, just to explain a bit about what I've been doing over the last couple of years and what we are planning to do. And then hopefully you'll have some questions, and I'd love to hear what they are and answer them. But a bit about me, I used to be a market researcher, and that's what I had been for about 25 years. As I say, I'd done some research for Brandwatch, lots of technology companies. I was running my own consultancy here in Brighton. I've got a family, there's 4 kids, and then down here in the bottom right, this was me about 2.5 years ago. In 2015, I got really mad about what was going on the telly there. And that was the time, I don't know if you remember, when there were streams of refugees walking through Europe. And it just felt like Europe, the governments, the institutions just weren't doing enough. And I felt like if I didn't do something, I would just feel awful about it. And fortunately, I had the time because I'd been running my own business. I had a bit of money there. I thought, well, I can give up work for a little while, and the bills will get paid. And also, there was a break in the project, so it just felt like, if I was a religious person, that God was calling me to it. I'm not. I'm an atheist, but there you go. So I went to Calais for a few months and helped there. Part-time, I was still working, going to Calais. I don't know if any of you know or have been to Calais, but at that time, at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016, it was a squalid shanty town on a landfill site with really poor air quality, contamination, fights, conflict, lots of mess there. It was the winter, it was awful, but somewhere in that photo, lots of volunteers went over. And then I just got sucked into this world. And then what happened was I met someone in Calais, and then the two of us set up an organization to help in Greece. And then over the last couple of years, the numbers, like we've supported something like 8,000 refugees, and we've had 600 volunteers who come for between 2 and 4 weeks from 40 different countries. And then the kinds of things that we've done is we've focused on giving people food and clothing. And so we set up 12 shops. We got involved in other things, 2 cafeterias. Actually, it's 3 cafeterias now. We set up a community kitchen, which was lots of fun. That was refugees and volunteers cooking food together. 400 meals a day, 6 days a week in one of the camps. A language school. We had 180 students learning 4 languages, 6 days a week for a period before another agency took it over. Professional, really nicely well-designed playgrounds that were expensive, and the same with the outdoor gyms as well. And so this is something that Refugee Support has done, and it's something that an organisation that I've managed with my colleague John. But really, it's a story of people helping people. And the way I look on what we've done is just really giving an opportunity to all of those people around the world who saw others in need and wanted to help. We'll talk about Greece, but we were also in Bangladesh. We found in August last year, things were really awful for these people. Hundreds of thousands streaming across the border from Myanmar, Burma into Bangladesh. And we wanted to go and help. We were there for 4 months. We faced, this is us doing a distribution of fruit and veg to 6,300 people there. We set up an antenatal clinic, which became a medical clinic. We distributed to the local school. We've always tried to help the local community. It's always been about trying to support the local community as well as the refugees as well. We were there for 4 months. We can talk about why we left, but basically the bureaucracy defeated us. We have managed to stick it out in Greece, and we're still there. This is one of the camps where we're working at. This one is it's on the mainland. It's in the west of Greece, near a city called Ioannina. There's 450 people on that camp. They're mostly waiting for their asylum applications to get processed. This is another one. There's about 250 people on this camp. It's an abandoned music school. And this is another one. There's about 250 here as well. This is what was a holiday village. It was derelict for about 15 years. And then the mayor said, when Greece was looking to provide somewhere for refugees to stay, he said, come and stay at this holiday village. I call it the holiday from hell. It kind of looks all right there, but actually it's incredibly run down. it's got all kinds of problems. And the biggest thing is it's miles from anywhere. It's completely isolated. And this is kind of what's happened in Greece. It's what happens to refugee camps around the world. They get pushed away to some corner. It means that there's no services. So I'm going to talk about some stuff that it's upsetting, because these people have been through all kinds of trauma. But what the message I want to get across is that, you know, life goes on these camps, and they are people just like you and me. I'm sure you understand this, but I just want to make it clear that people just like you and me who made the perfectly rational decision to leave their homes rather than die. Babies are being born. The kids are still playing. Families still love each other. People are still taking selfies. Yeah. So some people say, oh, it must be miserable. And yeah, it is difficult and emotional sometimes on a refugee camp as a volunteer. Living on there as well, they've got it even harder. But they still find ways to enjoy themselves and get on there. The human spirit is a strong thing. And the other thing to mention as well is that these people are resilient and resourceful. They wouldn't be on these camps if they weren't. They've made perilous and extraordinary journeys. I'm just going to talk about, I will talk about a few of them, but just to describe the situation on the camp. Although, you know, life is trying to carry on as normal, the issue that they really face is that they are stuck in a kind of limbo. They're waiting for their applications to get processed. There's really not much for them to do. Lots of young men, it's mostly families, but there are young men as well. And, you know, we get a lot of people get in touch saying, I want to help the babies and I want to help the women. And that's absolutely right. They are more vulnerable. But actually, it's the young men that are self-harming and killing themselves. A lot of pressure, and they feel very frustrated. About 45% of a refugee camp is kids under the age of 15. That would be inside one of the homes. Lots of children either doing that or running around. And so I'm just going to talk about, I'm just going to introduce you to two or three of these people. This is Mona. She's 9 years old. Her family fled ISIS in Iraq. She's 9. She's never been to school. And a lot of the kids on the refugee camps will have never been to school. And although there's a policy from the Greek government to get kids into school, they haven't managed to deliver on it in most camps. This is Musham, and you can see that this on the right is his prosthetic leg, and he's only got a stump on his left there. He was selling potatoes in a market in Aleppo when there was a Russian airstrike. It killed about 57 people, including friends of his, and blew off his leg. He was lucky, I guess, in a way. His son there, who's 4 now, I think, hasn't spoken for 6 months. And a lot of them do have these post-traumatic stress mental problems as well as physical injuries. This is Mohammed Nabil. He's on the camp with his son and his wife. He was an engineer and his wife was a wedding photographer. He was captured by Assad's forces in Syria. He was tortured for about 6 months. Came out of that to find that his pregnant wife had lost a baby. She'd been shot in the leg. And then there was just, his neighborhood had turned into a war zone. So quite rightly left. So those are difficult and traumatic stories from the people that we're trying to support. But I could have picked, you know, pretty much anyone on the camp, and they will all have stories like similar to that. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult, you know, in that kind of environment. You know, how do we go about helping people? You know, what was it that they wanted? And this was the very beginning, you know, 2.5 years ago on the first camp that we went to. This is people getting off the bus, and their bags are pretty much everything that they had. They were sleeping in tents. They were, you know, washing and doing their clothes, getting their, you know, water from outside taps, going to the toilet in Portaloos. And the place was derelict and flooding. There was all kinds of problems there. So lots of needs, lots of problems. And, you know, when we worked in Calais, any of you that have been to Calais will know that the only way that you can distribute stuff in Calais really is is you kind of load up a van, you drive into what was the jungle at that time with a team of people, you open the back of the van, you try and form a line of people, and then you say, what size are you? You know, you have a van full of coats. They tell you small, medium, or large. You say, right, there's your medium coat, now move. There's your large coat, now move. And then, so people would just have to take what they were given. They would only have the opportunity if they were there. And, you know, in that kind of environment, of course, the lines would frequently break down into a bit of a bundle. So it often got not violent, but difficult, and, you know, a bit of pushing and shoving. And we really wanted to get away from that. So we thought, okay, people need food and clothing. Let's distribute it in a way so that everybody gets a chance, everybody's treated the same, and we respect people's dignity. So we made a shop, and I call it Dignity Mark 1 because this was the first way we went about it. We invited one family in at a time, and we said to them, how big's your family? Here's a basket of stuff. You can see we've got some basics there. There's like tuna, sugar, toilet paper, milk, biscuits. There was tea and coffee. And it was nice because it was in the chaos of that camp, there was like one little corner where they could get something that they wanted, and they were treated in a nice, respectful way by smiley volunteers. The problem was that some people would say, I don't want tea, I don't drink tea, I want coffee. And then we say, no, everyone's getting tea, so you're having tea as well. And so we thought, oh, how can we go about changing this? And so so after a while, what we did was we printed our own money, and that's what you can see there. And we've now got like an app as well, so that it's like a till. So we tried to make this experience as normal as possible. So what we do is we go around the camp, and we have, you know, if you're an adult, you get 100 points. If you're a child, you get 50 points. If you're a pregnant woman, you get 150 points. So we gave people the money, we gave them the points, and then they come into the shop and they could spend the money on the stuff that's in the shop to make it as normal as possible. The points were related to the actual value of the stuff that we bought in the shops. And it's all been possible, as I said, by volunteers. And I think, you know, the two of us have run this organization in quite an intense environment where, you know, John and my partner and I in this get asked for stuff all the time. It's relentless. You know, we will never be able to satisfy the needs of all the people on the camp, and that's wearing. And it feels like the problem is so big that we can't resolve all of them. And the reason that but the way that we've managed to keep going is because we've had people with fresh ideas and enthusiasm who've come along, and all we've done is just given them a structure. You know, we've given them, like, here's what we can and can't do, here's what we're going to focus on, and just steered them in the right direction. Then they've come up with making places like this look beautiful. So this is the market on that large camp that I was talking about. You know, we buy in all this stuff from a local grocer, from a local supermarket. We stock it, we label the number of points. People come in with their tokens, and then they buy what they want. And the other thing about having volunteers as well is that they come with big hearts and, you know, caring attitudes. And so that's the easy thing. But, you know, what we're trying to do is it's about the objective of us as an organization for the people on a camp, where, you know, we can't solve all their dental problems, we can't help them with their asylum application, we can't reunite them with their family who are all over the world, but we can say to them, you're a human being just like the rest of us, and we're going to respect you like the rest of us. And there's one other thing as well, which I think is really important. You know, we do all this stuff for them, but I think one of the most important things we do is we bear witness to their experience. We stand shoulder to shoulder with them and say, we are here with you while you're going through this awful time in your life. We have to be a bit flexible. This is that music school camp that I was talking about. And there, because we only visit on a Sunday, we do like a home delivery service. So we take people's orders on a Sunday, get them all packed up during the week, and then take them the following Sunday, deliver them, and get their order for their next week. And now we're moving on to business Dignity Mark 3. I'm calling it Business Incubator. So the people on the camp, so they're likely to be there for a year to a year and a half minimum. Some of them are going to be in Greece for until they're able to go back to Syria, because as you probably know, Europe is fighting amongst itself to not accept responsibility for the refugees. So they're likely to be stuck in Greece. There's about 60,000 there at the moment, and we don't want to keep on giving people, the shop's great. We don't want to keep on giving people charity. We want to empower people, we want to get them integrated into the Greek society. We want them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. The longer we're there offering food, no matter how nicely we do it, the more we're creating dependency. So what we're doing is giving people, we started it on Monday. We said, send us a business proposal. We'll give you some money. We can say we're starting off with €1,000 and all the legal, technical, and coaching support you'll need to get your business up and running. And this quote from Mohammed Nabil, who I was talking about earlier, the guy that unfortunately got tortured and then had to deal with all kinds of rubbish before he got to Greece, sums up exactly kind of what we're about, the conflicts that we have to deal with and what we're trying to achieve here. We don't want to give handouts, but they had no choice. We've kind of worked through a system where we tried to make those handouts as palatable as possible. What they really want is a dignified life. And that's what we're trying to do. And he wants to sweat and work for his future, just like all of the refugees there do. Not all, but 95%. And we're reliant completely on individual donations. So I ask everyone for money. We have various kind of fundraisers going on. You can come and volunteer. We need people for 2 to 4 weeks. There's no experience quite like it. You work on a big team, and you can see what's really lovely actually is, apart from just the 40 nations, our youngest has been 15, who came with a parent. Our oldest has been 79, and from all kinds of backgrounds as well. And then finally as well, raising awareness. And I think, raise awareness because we're interested in getting as much attention as we can so that people can see what we're doing and support us. But just to get this message out as well, that there are people in need in Europe who need our support. I mean, ultimately they need a political solution. We're just putting a sticking plaster over this big political wound in Europe at the moment. People need a political solution where countries will say, yes, we will start accepting tens of thousands of people and give them the support they need to start integrating and rebuilding their lives. I'd love to hear questions. Thank you very much for your time.